Maybe I'll put a whoopee cushion under you one of these days.
You should. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call back to order the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners meeting of August 7th, 2018. Please silence your cell phones if you could. We would appreciate that. Now is the time for resolutions. Madam Clerk, would you please read the first resolution?
Yes, sir. Is there anyone here representing the Purple Heart, Pasco County as a Purple Heart County? If you could come forward, please. Good morning, or good afternoon, sorry.
Good afternoon.
Resolution number 18227, whereas the Purple Heart, known as the Badge of Military Merit, was the first award made available to the common soldier to recognize outstanding valor or merit. It was established by General George Washington at Newburgh, New York on August 7th, 1782 during the Revolutionary War, and is the oldest military award still given to the U.S. Military members. And whereas the Purple Heart is awarded to military members of the U.S. Armed Forces who are wounded by an instrument of war in the hands of the enemy, and posthumously to the next of kin in the name of those who were killed in action or died from wounds received in action. And whereas recipients of the Purple Heart have known the meaning of sacrifice in the preservation of the United States of America and in defense of national interests at home and abroad. And whereas many present and former Pasco County residents made the ultimate sacrifice for the cause of freedom, and whereas in appreciation of all Purple Heart recipients, the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners proclaimed Pasco County as a Purple Heart County in the state of Florida on July 23rd, 2013. And whereas Pasco County is honored to recognize all present and former Pasco County residents who have been wounded or who have made the ultimate sacrifice defending our country and freedom. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby recognizes August 7th, 2018 as Purple Heart Day and has dedicated a special Purple Heart recipient parking space at the Dade City Veterans Services Office. Done and resolved in regular session with the quorum present and voting the 7th day of August 2018, signed by the board.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, Purple Heart Day, celebrated each year on August the 7th, commemorates the creation of the Purple Heart Medal, which recognizes sacrifice and commitment of combat wounded veterans. We celebrate here in Pasco County the 5th year anniversary of the Purple Heart County. Because of the Purple Heart County on 7/23/2013. Also recognizing today that the city of Zephyr Hills and the city of Dade City also are celebrating their 5th year as Purple Heart cities in the East Pasco County. So we certainly appreciate each and every one of y'all being here, and being a veteran myself, I certainly appreciate those that got wounded in battle and protecting this country and giving us all the freedom that we have today. And those that paid the ultimate sacrifice, my heart goes out to their families because they did. That is why we have freedom here today, along with what these gentlemen did. So we certainly appreciate y'all being here on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Commissioners. Today is a special day for the Military Order of the Purple Heart. It's this organization that serves the purpose of both historical, educational, patriotic endeavors to keep alive the memory of those that paid the sacrifice, and in some cases the ultimate sacrifice. And we'd especially like to thank Pasco County for your collective efforts and all you do for the veterans of Pasco County. We've been here several times, and we were here last year at Veterans Day and saw the welcome and thank yous that you gave to the employees of Pasco County. So we consider it an honor to be associated and living in this fine community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you'll wait. Now, I'll come down and we'll make a presentation giving the resolution to you, and have gift bags outside the door to the right for all the recipients here today. I appreciate y'all being here. If the board will all come down, we'll all take pictures. Sure.
He's gonna hand you this. Okay, we're gonna take turns looking at the cameras. Yeah, that's right. So, there's one place, give me a second. Great time.
Get in first. My turn. One.
Facebook. Can't forget Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. I was just telling him, I just visited Normandy and Dade.
We're here for you. Is that you want to talk to us about something? Come on. Okay. All together.
Good to see you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a gift bag out to the right.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the second resolution is for the Fire Rescue Engine 10 and Rescue 10. If you could come forward, please. Resolution number 18-226. Whereas on Sunday, July 8th, 2018, Pasco County Fire Rescue Engine 10 and Rescue 10 crew responded to a medical call in the Beacon Woods subdivision located in Hudson, Florida, which resulted in a patient being transported to the hospital. And whereas the crew of Engine 10 and Rescue 10 were made aware that the patient suffered a medical emergency while laying sod in his front yard, and realized that the patient would not be able to complete the sodding of his home after being mandated to do so by his homeowners association. And whereas the crew of Engine 10 and Rescue 10 took the initiative to return back to Beacon Woods and assist the family of the patient in completing the sodding of the residence to bring it into compliance of the homeowners association directive. And whereas the crew of Engine 10 and Rescue 10 are recognized for their commitment to excellence, their compassion for the fellow citizen, and performance of a charitable act on their own volition. And whereas the crew of Engine 10 and Rescue 10 went above and beyond the call of duty to serve a citizen in his time of need. Sorry. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby recognizes and commends Pasco County Fire Rescue Engine 10 and Rescue 10 crew for going above and beyond the call of duty in their commitment to excellence and dedicated service to the citizens. I get choked up. It's such a great thing that you guys did.
It's a great.
To the citizens of Pasco County. Done and resolved. All right, done and resolved in regular session with the quorum present and voting the 7th day of August, 2018, signed by the board.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
We all want a second.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Amazing.
Well, I got to tell you, gentlemen, what a tremendous story this was. You know, the people really appreciate fire and EMS service they get in this county. The ratings are through the roof. This is just one of those extra special stories that I'm glad you guys got a lot of recognition for it. You deserved every bit of it. I think the team leadership, all the way down to your own heart to go out and help the citizen through the situation. I get chills when I think about it as well. So I know we're all proud and delighted with your dedication. And I think you can say that every one of us will say, you see a situation like that again, you just go jump on it again, because that's how we want to treat our citizens. So I want to thank you very much, Board.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll just move down the line, but again, we're also proud of you, and I'm sure you get to feel how good it feels to help somebody, and I know that's contagious, so I am sure that from your actions, a lot of other people have done really nice things for other people, so that's how that snowballs. So thank you for setting that in motion.
Just what Commissioner Starkey said, I think what you did, you probably started a very kind trend where you did get a lot of, obviously, publicity, which you weren't looking for by any means, but you did, and the department did. And when people see others do kind things as you did, it's contagious, like Commissioner Starkey said. So we thank you from the bottom of our hearts, not just for that, but what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the heart and soul of our community, and you protect our citizens and save our citizens on a day-to-day basis. And again, we're appreciative for everything you do, not just this. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We certainly appreciate everything you do each and every day, and you can count on this board supporting you and trying to make your life a little easier, because we know that you have to, whatever you face out there, that isn't always an easy task to be taken on. So we understand that, and we support you fully. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. We really can't say thank you enough to everything you all do on a day-to-day basis that you don't get credit for. This was something that you weren't expecting, and you just did it because it's the right thing to do, and that's what we're about. That's why we love each and every one of you. We're lucky to have each and every one of you here in Pasco County, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I believe Dr. O'Neill won't choke up.
It's such a great story. Anyway, I graduated from high school in St. Louis in 1974. I just want you to know, one of my high school teachers was talking about, look what happened in Pasco County, Florida. There's good things in our world today. So, thank you.
That's great.
We definitely want to hear from you about how this all took place and all.
So I know, thank you, Commissioner. Again, Kevin Guthrie, Pasco County Public Safety Assistant County Administrator. One of the things that I thought was very important to let this board know is, we got a new county administrator about 14, 15 months ago, and I know this is not about him, and he doesn't want us to say anything like this, but with the executive team under his leadership, we started bringing in a leadership development model that started 14, 15 months ago about people, purpose, and performance. And we're pushing that down within the public safety branches. We are in every branch. But I'm going to take a minute, just real quick, to tell you this guy standing over my left shoulder. When we have captains riding in the right front seat of engines that can make common sense, good decisions in leadership roles like Boyd Marshall did, Captain Boyd Marshall did behind me, that's what we're looking for. And we can see now the fruits of our labor of pushing that leadership model down into our system and into our teams, into our branches and units. So I want to commend not only just this crew, but this crew has a leader, and that leader is Captain Boyd Marshall right behind me, and he did an excellent job. So I just want to make sure I pointed that out. So this is the fruits of that effort. So thank you, Boyd.
Andy Fawcett, Deputy Chief of Administration, Fire Rescue. The story actually goes a little bit further from here. These guys did an outstanding job. It was mind-blowing to actually get it firsthand and see what had happened. And it does wonders for the morale of the fire department. But the gentleman that had the heart attack had to pawn a very expensive rifle that he had for years. And we didn't know it, but one of our other firefighters within the county that has his own private little company went out and retrieved the weapon back for him. Actually bought with his own funds. It was approximately almost $2,500 that he took out of his own pocket. So it does play forward. It will play forward. We see it every day. And these guys, I mean, they're outstanding. And they should be very proud of themselves, especially free as living.
Hi, Captain Boyd Marshall, and I just want to take my time to tell you guys, thanks for taking the time out of your day to acknowledge us and my whole crew and everything that we did. And like you said, we didn't expect any of this. We just kind of did this because it was the right thing to do. And by all means, like Ms. Starkey said, I hope it does start a trend where people pay it forward. And you know, Ms. O'Neill, you said you're a teacher. I've had multiple old friends that I haven't talked to in years, and everybody kind of reached out. It was a feel-good story, and it's awesome. And like you said, I like to see it get paid forward, and it's a good thing to put Pasco County in a positive limelight. So thank you guys, and thank you for honoring us, and the Auditor Department in general. Thanks for all you do.
Any other gentleman want to speak? No? All right. Let's go take a picture. And I know we have some family members in the audience. I'd like to do a nice big shot with everybody in the picture. So all the family, please come up too.
I'm going to hold the baby.
Hold the baby. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good call, by the way.
I was going to have Mike read it. Want me to hold it? Oh, yeah, I haven't seen the hockey granddaughter.
Clean up my mess here.
Squeeze in, squeeze in.
Look at that. Handsome.
So what, we have two first responders in the same family?
My turn, one more time.
No more comment.
It's a spare Facebook.
Doesn't he have a big? Thank you. Thanks again.
costume. I'm a baby.
Keep doing this, you're gonna have to.
Yeah, that's right.
Keep it up.
There's one more, but it's, I don't know.
So you went to California? And how hot was it? Did you see that fire that's going on now? Mendocino? Mendocino? Yeah. The largest fire ever in California history.
Okay, resolution RS3, resolution number 18237, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, expressing appreciation to Donna L. Walker, Deputy Clerk for the Office of the Clerk and Controller, for her 20 years of outstanding service to Pasco County. Done and resolved in regular session with the quorum present and voting the 7th day of August, signed by the board.
Move for approval.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
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 I still got that part.
Now where we at? There you
Are we
go.
on P1?
And we're adjourned.
Good day. We done? You did the last one?
Yep.
Is that title only? Okay. Now we will proceed with the public hearing agenda, starting with item P1 of ordinances. Madam Clerk, do we have proof of P1?
Do Tampa Bay Times, April 27th, 2018.
Good afternoon. My name is Amy Heiler, Planning Development. Item P1 is the name of Lacey Property. It is a large-scale comprehensive plan amendment. This is the adoption hearing for this item. I will go ahead and read the ordinance into record.
Yes, ma'am.
Item P1, which is large-scale comprehensive plan amendment, CPAL 1804, an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map, Map 2-15 and Sheet 22, changing from Res 3, residential 3 dwelling units per gross acre, to Res 6, residential 6 dwelling units per gross acre, on approximately 40.7 acres, being parcel ID numbers 04-26-20-0000, -00300-000 and 04-26-20-0000-00300-0030, providing for severability and an effective date. So I'll go ahead and go through the presentation. The subject site is located in southwest Pasco County. The existing future land use is Res 3, and the proposed future land use is Res 6, with the current land use being single-family homes and vacant undeveloped lands. The applicant proposes to increase the density to allow for 214 single-family detached dwelling units. The subject site is located on 40.7 acres with 36.4 developable acres on the east side of Boyette Road, approximately 700 feet south of Wells Road. The surrounding zoning is characterized by master plan unit development, MPUD, and agricultural residential use. The surrounding future land use is classified as residential, and the surrounding use is predominantly single-family residential and vacant. The proposed FLU amendment is consistent with the surrounding residential densities of a Res 3 and Res 6. And the comprehensive plan consistency, the proposed density increase is consistent with policy FLU 1.4.3 as a transitional land use with the intent to blend across 2 parcels in conjunction with the residential development of the surrounding area being Chickdance MPUD. The proposed amendment is also running consecutively with the proposed MPUD rezoning petition 7298. And with that, the proposed amendment is consistent with the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan and to ensure transitional land uses are appropriate within the subject area. We recommend approval and adoption of the ordinance by roll call vote. Any questions?
Any questions? This is a public hearing. I do not have anyone signed up to speak on this item.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Hobby? My apologies, sir.
I'm not signed up to speak. Clark Hobby, Hobby and Hobby PA, 109 North Brush Street, Tampa, Florida. We are here to answer any questions. We appreciate staff support. As you'll recall, this project was transmitted to the state about 6 or 8 weeks ago. We didn't get any objections, so moving forward. And the MPUD will be before you. That's the companion to this in just a few minutes. Happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And did anyone else want to speak on this item?
Move
Seeing no
approval.
one on the board.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, it's a roll call vote.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 4, Chairman Wells.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, P2, Madam Chair, do we have approved?
do.
Madam Clerk, sorry.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even get it. We do Tampa Bay Times, June 12th, 2018, June 19th, 2018, June 26th, and July 3rd, 2018.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeffrey Jenkins with Planning and Development. I'll be presenting P2, which is an ordinance establishing the West Bridge Community Development District pursuant to Chapter 190 of the Florida statutes, providing for authority and power of the district, providing for powers and duties of the district, providing for the Board of Supervisors of the district, providing for the district budget, providing for functions of the district, providing for miscellaneous provisions, and providing for an effective date. This application was submitted by Pulte Home Company LLC to establish the West Bridge CDD. It's located at the corner of Boyette, and the CDD is similar to the Lacey property you just heard. It consists of a portion of the Chicken Dance Wells Road MPUD and the entire Lacey property MPUD. And it is approximately 110 acres, and it will contain approximately 351 single-family residential units that will be assessed by the petition. And the recommendation is to adopt the ordinance to establish the CDD.
Any questions? Okay.
Move approval.
Is the, wait, hang on, does the applicant wish to speak? Okay, public hearing, would you like to come up and speak, sir, on this item? No? Okay. Anyone else like to speak on this item? If not, it's the board.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, it's a roll call. District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 4, Chairman Wells.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
I thought we had a new employee for a second, but I just realized that you lost a little something extra.
He
off
did,
your
yes,
face,
he
didn't
did. He still has the bow tie, though. That's how I knew it was him.
I was
so.
wondering why snow.
Yeah, P3, do we have proof, Madam Clerk?
We do. Tampa Bay Times, July 27th, 2018.
Item P3 is an ordinance amending the boundaries of the TSR Community Development District pursuant to Chapter 190 Florida statute and amending Pasco County Ordinance Number 1414 as amended by Pasco County Ordinance Number 1517 and 1745, providing for miscellaneous provisions, providing for an effective date. The TSR CDD, Starkey Ranch, this petition came in from their Board of Supervisors to adopt an ordinance amending the previously mentioned ordinances, and it will add approximately 57 acres to the TSR CDD. This district is located within a portion of the Starkey Ranch MPUD, which is located north of State Road 54, east of Starkey Boulevard. Subsequent to this amendment, the district will contain approximately 1,383 acres, and it will contain approximately 2,350 single and multifamily dwelling units to be assessed by the petitions. This is a map of the location and an aerial. You'll see that not all of the MPUD is within the CDD, and the recommendation is to adopt the ordinance.
Okay, would the applicant or applicant's representative like to speak?
Good afternoon. My name is Alyssa Wilson, and I'm with the law firm Hopping Green and Sams. I represent the petitioner, the TSR Community Development District, requesting adoption of the boundary amendment petition. With me today, the chairman of the Board of Supervisors and landowner representative, Mike McCory, is here, and we're available to answer any questions.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Anyone else?
I had to ask, what is TSR? I've never heard of that. I've never heard it
Jeff
called
answered
that.
that for you.
Jeff explained it to
Yeah.
me.
It's the official name.
And for purposes of the record, we had checked Commissioner Starkey's family or holdings are not affected by this petition, so she can vote on it.
Okay. Thank you. This is a public hearing. I do not have anyone signed up for this item. If you'd like to speak on it, come forward. Seeing no one, we'll close and comes to the board.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner
Aye.
Moore. District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 4, Chairman Wells.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. P4, do we have proof?
We do. Tampa Bay Times, July 6th, July 13th, July 20th, and July 27th, 2018.
Item P4 is an ordinance amending the boundaries of the Murata Community Development District pursuant to Chapter 190 Florida statute and amending Pasco County Ordinance Number 1607, providing for miscellaneous provisions, providing for an effective date. The Murata CDD was submitted for a boundary amendment by their Board of Supervisors, and it will be amending Ordinance 1607 by adding 2 parcels and contracting 1 parcel from the CDD boundaries. The CDD is located within a portion of the Murata Connected City Master Plan Unit Development. The CDD will contain approximately 879.718 acres and will contain 1,400 single-family dwelling units that will be assessed by the petition. Here's a location map showing its location just south of State Road 52. And here's an aerial location map showing the CDD within the MPUD boundary. And the recommendation is to adopt the ordinance.
Okay, this is a public hearing. I do not have anyone signed up for this item. If you'd like to speak on this item, please come forward. Okay, it's to the board.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, it's a roll call vote.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 4, Chairman Wells.
Aye.
Thank you.
P5.
We do have proof. Tampa Bay Times, July 6th, 13th, 20th, and 27th of 2018.
Item P5 is an ordinance establishing the Murata 2 Community Development District pursuant to Chapter 190 Florida statute, providing for authority and power of the district, providing for powers and duties of the district, providing for the Board of Supervisors of the district, providing for the district budget, providing for functions of the district, providing for miscellaneous provisions, providing for an effective date. CR Pasco Development Company LLC submitted the application to establish the CDD. It is located within a portion, again, in Murata Connected City Master Plan Unit Development, and it will incorporate approximately 801 acres. It will contain 1,600 single-family dwelling units that will be assessed by the petition. There's a location map and an aerial. And the recommendation is to adopt the ordinance.
Any questions? This is a public hearing. I don't know if anyone signed up for this item. If you'd like to speak on this item, please come forward. Seeing no one is to the board.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, it's a roll call vote.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 4, Chairman Wells.
Aye. Thank you. No, thank you. And P6?
We do have proof for P6, Tampa Bay Times, July 20th, 2018.
John Power, Pasco County Solid Waste Department. I'm here for P6. P6 is basically, it's an ordinance amending the Chapter 90. It's the duration of the service agreement we have with the haulers. It's taken from 1 year to 10 years. And I'm not used to this.
John, you need to start out by reading the title of the ordinance.
An ordinance amending Chapter 90, Article 2 of the Pasco County Code of Ordinance, Solid Waste Collection and Disposal, Division 1, Section 90-27, 90-46, 90-62, 90-64, 90-65, 90-66, relating to solid waste haulers license term and renewal, providing for repelling, providing for stability, providing for applicability, providing for inclusion in code, providing an effective date.
I'm glad to have you back, by the way.
A little
We
nervous.
missed you. Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Is that,
So our recommendation is to approve.
Is this the second reading?
and I know we approved the first amendment last meeting, correct?
No, this
Well,
one
this
was
would be-
introduced at the last meeting. This is your adoption hearing.
Okay.
Oh, I got
Any questions for Mr. Bowers?
Yeah, is this the one that you and I talked about continuing? Or is that different?
it. No.
Well, I mean, the term of the license goes through a calendar year, so it doesn't, the existing doesn't terminate until the end of December. If we change this, it will take it to 10 years. The continuance, that's really,
No, we had majority in agreement that this
Yeah.
is to move forward with
Well, I
this.
was- I
And
talked
we
with
could
Joe
make
Richards and-
discusses. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Well, you know, we have a desire to see about how we could, in my district anyway, or in that part of Pasco County, to make some kind of requirement that everyone have some kind of trash pickup. And so the thought was maybe we could have a workshop on this later, because I think the attorney's office had some opinions and staff had some opinions on how we might be able to work that out.
And I thought we discussed it, and I thought Jeff said this wouldn't have an impact on this. We could still vote, move this forward, and that's something, because I think we agree, we all need to look at that.
But if we move forward, then we can't do anything for 3 years, is that correct?
No.
Franchise.
Franchising, but
Right.
that's not what we would do. We would do something a little different in your district, I think is the idea, and I
So,
think.
Mr. Chairman, if I can get Mr. Richards to explain what the discussion was, we've been in contact with Pinellas County, and they have a system that might be advantageous to the District 3 issue, but Joe has those details.
John?
Joe Richards, Pasco County Attorney's Office. Yes, the issue of dealing with, it appears in southwest Pasco County that the problem occurs mostly with rental properties. Either the tenant or the landlord is not taking responsibility to contract with a hauler, so the garbage is not getting collected, it's stockpiling a lot. And this is something that code deals with on a monthly basis. There's numerous complaints. And so investigating what to do about that situation, I did contact Pinellas County, and they had a similar problem in a discrete area of Pinellas County. where overall the unincorporated area of Pinellas County is a free market system like we have here in Pasco County. But to deal with this rental property issue, they created a discrete franchise area. So that way you put the collection cost on the tax roll, much like we have the disposal fee. That way the property owner is paying for it. And it eliminates the code enforcement problem we would have of making sure that a property owner hires a hauler. Because we have a code enforcement issue now. We do have ordinances on the books that say you can't stockpile your trash, you should be properly disposing of it, but it still puts a burden on code enforcement to make sure people are actually doing that. If we passed a mandatory collection ordinance, we'd still have that enforcement issue. We'd have to apply staff to make sure that these property owners, these rental properties, are actually contracting with a hauler and maintaining that contract and getting the trash collected. So if franchises, this one discrete area franchise is something the board would want to consider, then adopting this ordinance could put that in jeopardy and put us into that 3-year notice requirement under state law. So,
But couldn't we do it, not call it franchising and
A rental, like make a requirement of a rental?
mandatory? And I know the haulers are open to working together. They work
Yeah.
together very well
Yeah, that's
to give business to each other to help block things out. So we don't have 3 different companies going in the same neighborhood. So, and I know they're open to this, but I know the 10-year extension is important to them for investment, to be able to invest in the future and not have to guess every year if they're going to be doing business with Pasco the next year. So is there legally, are we able to still look at doing some form of hybrid, if you will, down in the southwest part of Pasco County?
we're not precluded from doing other options, but if you want to consider a discrete franchise to take care of this one problem area, then if we adopt this ordinance, then we would be put into that 3-year notice period, and that would delay us addressing the problem with the franchise.
Mr. Chairman? So adopting this won't affect that from happening, but I think just like we're doing the recycling test right now, that could be a real good test template to do the same thing there as well.
No, what he's saying is if we adopt this, we can't do anything else for 3 years.
No, I believe we can. That
No,
we just
he
couldn't
just-
franchise. I think we can still do something else. Jeff?
That's, no, so the option of franchising will be off the table for 3 years, even for a discrete area,
Discrete franchise.
if that's, if that's something the board wants to consider. If the board wants us to look at other options, which I'm not sure that we've identified any other successful options, but there could be other options on the table other than franchising, this ordinance would not preclude it. But as we said at the last introduction, if you want to go into a franchise territory at all, you're gonna, based on state law, you're gonna have a 3-year waiting period. And that's all we're raising with you today, before you adopt this ordinance.
Is there something we can, and I think Commissioner Mariano wants to speak too, but is there something we can do? Because I'm all for the 10-year contract. I think that's good for all of us. But I also understand that the citizens in this part of the county need some help. We have homes where people throw the garbage in the backyard, and the neighbors can't use their backyard to barbecue anymore because of the flies and the smell. So this is what I'm trying to help solve for them. And code enforcement isn't allowed to go in their backyard. So can we make an amendment to this to allow for that to happen in this ruling today?
So if you wish to go into a mandatory collection process without franchising, which I will say is going to be a difficult endeavor, but they are separate and discrete. You could do mandatory collection without doing franchising. The issue that we're raising about state law would not be triggered. You could still go down the path of mandatory collection.
Okay.
The problem is how you're going to effectuate mandatory collection without a hauler requirement.
Well, can't we,
You'd have a code violation, but
we can't put on I think the trick here is to get it on the tax bill so that, because my understanding is that's the only way the county will know, that anyone will know if that house has a contract.
the only way that you can put hauler services on the tax bill, in my opinion, is to franchise. Because then you become you're hiring the haulers for those areas, and then you're putting it on the tax bill. Otherwise, the private company can't be put on the tax bill.
But I've spoken to a few of the haulers and gave examples of counties, I believe in this region or outside the region, that have something that's like that, but it's not franchised, and they're able to have mandatory service. I believe there's ways we can get it done. I mean, you just said there's a way we can get it done. It really shouldn't, I think we need to move forward with this. I think, it's important. We've been talking about this for 2.5 years, 3 years probably, talking about getting this to the table to us. So it's important to move forward, but I don't disagree. We need to do something creative maybe, and I think the haulers working together can accomplish it with the county, so.
My goal was to try and find a way that.
I understand.
That, one, we make everyone have to deal with their garbage in a very urban setting, and two, not to put the responsibility of it on code enforcement, who's already overburdened in that area. So, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I mean, this process we've looked at for years, many years now, as far as what's the best thing to do. I think the benefits of a 10-year is great for the haulers. I think the benefits of mandatory collection protects all the neighborhoods. It is very important, those low-income areas that have to rent the properties, et cetera, that don't get the trash picked up. I mean, how many times have we done sweeps out there?
It's on,
or, groups, we spend a lot of time on dumpsters, getting people in neighborhoods. Meanwhile, if you just nip this problem right at the bud by having it mandatory collections and pickup, I think you you give yourself a good position. The other benefit, and I'm going to say it without saying I want to see franchising, but when you set this up ahead of time, you can then try to work a deal with the haulers to let them go out. If they're going to give a 10-year contract, you say, okay, you're going to supply bins for the next 10 years as well, for your people as well. You're taking away some of your leverage by pushing this forward without getting all that done. That's the only objective. I have no problem with the 10-year. I would even put a clause in there to make that step, is now he's trying to get them to get new vehicles in here too. Generally speaking, they told me years ago, we don't get the best vehicles in Pasco County because we don't have a 10-year contract. The ones that get that are the ones that require it and get it. So there's things you can get from a hauler, but if you give away this real good carrot, you take away a lot of that leverage to, try to make it all happen. And when are we supposed to have this workshop coming up?
I don't know if we have a date yet, Mr. Biles.
I think we were looking in late November or early December. The recycling test goes through October.
So we're doing a recycling program right now, or pilot study, that we're supplying carts and we're doing collection 1 day a week. That will end at the end of October. So we'll have the data. It will probably take us about another 20 days to be able to compile that data. And then what we're hoping to do is to set a workshop either November or December.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I can appreciate the concerns that Commissioner Starkey and Commissioner Marion both have. I think the county attorney said that this doesn't preclude you to do something mandatory. You're just going to find out a creative way to do it. We've had this discussion ever since I think I've been elected on the board in 2014. So, we can keep putting things off until the next workshop, putting things off, and we're never going to get it done. So, I know we still need to take public comment, but my thought as we move forward, as presented by staff today, if we want to think of something creative, we can have that workshop, something to make it mandatory, especially maybe those designated market areas like the one you're talking about. But for now, we can't just keep doing this. We're going to keep coming back and having this discussion. Nothing's ever going to be done. So with that, I said we take public comment and let's vote. Because I know for a fact you got 3 out of 5 commissioners. We had this discussion before. They're not going to go for franchising. So we can beat a dead horse all day long, but we need to move forward.
No, and again, I agree with Mr. Moore, but the haulers, there's examples. Like I said, there's examples of this region where it's not franchised and it's mandatory. And I think it falls on the shoulders of the haulers to make sure they get paid for the service. So I think we need to talk more about that. We need to involve the stakeholders. And I don't know if anybody is here from any of the haulers are here, but this is a public hearing. I don't have anybody signed up for this item. Does anybody want to speak on this item?
Seeing none, move for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's a roll call vote.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
No.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 4, Chairman Wells.
Aye. Passes 4-1, thank you. Okay. Next, we will proceed to procedures and rezonings. Is that correct,
Yep.
sir? Okay, do you want to review the procedures and rezoning, please?
There are two rezoning agendas, regular and consent. Staff will present each application to the Board of County Commissioners. If staff or Planning Commission has recommended approval and there's no opposition, the application will be considered by the board without further presentation. If staff or Planning Commission has recommended denial, or if there is opposition to the applicant will be given 5 minutes for presentation. The opposition will be given 3 minutes for each individual, or 5 minutes for a group representative, and the applicant will be given 3 minutes for rebuttal. Any individual disagreeing with staff or Planning Commission recommendation, or anyone wishing to object to any condition of the rezoning, may at this time request the petition be pulled from the consent agenda, in which case that application will be heard under the regular agenda later on during the meeting. Otherwise, all rezoning applications on the consent agenda will be approved by a single motion and vote. If you wish to speak to any petition, please give your name and address and whether or not you've been sworn for the record. These are quasi-judicial public hearings. The law in Florida is mere public support or opposition of an application is insufficient for this board to take action. Please limit your comments to those criteria for rezoning found within the board's land development code.
Okay, thank you, sir. Item P7.
Okay, item P, Denise Hernandez.
That one's withdrawn.
Oh, yes, sorry, I apologize, I'm getting ahead of myself, Dr. O'Neill.
If you plan to speak on any of these items, if you could stand so I could swear you in, please. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God? Thank you. So P7, thank you. We do have proof. Tampa Bay Times, June 22nd, 2018.
Great. Good afternoon, Denise Hernandez, Planning and Development. Item P7 is PDD 187332 and under the name of Renee Wertheimer Revocable Living Trust. This item has been withdrawn by the applicant, so there's no further consideration of the application at this time.
Okay, P8, Tampa Bay Times, June 22nd, 2018.
Item P8 is PDD 18 CU 27 under the name of Patricia Weber Festmeyer, North American Towers Earthcom. This is for conditional use for 195-foot above ground level monopole wireless communications facility, and the applicant has requested a continuance to the September 4th, 2018 BCC meeting at 1:30 in Dade City.
Move to continue time certain.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign, motion carries. P9.
Tampa Bay Times, June 22nd, 2018.
P9 is PDD 18 CU 30, Terry D. and Mary N. McKnight for conditional use for 110-foot observation tower in an AR district. This is a staff requested continuance to September 4th, 2018 Board of County Commissioners meeting at 1:30 p.m. in Dade City.
Continue time certain.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. P10.
Do have proof, Tampa Bay Times, June 1st, 2018.
P10 is PDD 18 1239 is the estates at Fort King. And this is a rezoning request from R3 to an MPUD, Master Plan Unit Development District. This is an applicant requested continuance to the September 4th, 2018 Board of County Commissioners meeting at 1:30 p.m. in Dade City.
Move approval. Continue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. P11.
That was advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, June 27th, 2018.
Item P11 is PDD 18-1283. It's for an appeal for special exception 7309 for Mountain View Solar. Due to improper notice in the newspaper, staff is requesting a continuance to the September 4th, 2018 public hearing, Board of County Commissioners hearing at 1:30 in Dade City.
Move to continue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Okay, today we have 4 Public hearing items on consent agenda. These items will be approved with one vote without a presentation unless there is someone here in objections. Items P12 through P15 are on consent. Madam Clerk, do we have proof?
So for P12, the Tampa Bay Times, there were affidavit of certified mailings with postings on site. For P13, 14, and 15, they were all advertised in the Tampa Bay Times, June 22nd, 2018.
Thank you. Item P12 is PDD 187298. This is a rezoning from an AR to an MPUD in the name of Lacey Property MPUD and Lacey Family Trust. This came to you also in item P1 when you did approve the comprehensive plan amendment. This item comes to you with a recommendation of approval with conditions from the DRC and from the Planning and Development Department.
Okay, is there anyone?
I'm sorry. So I really don't have proof that it was in the Tampa Bay Times for P12. It was just, all the proof I have is affidavit of certified mailings with postings on site. That was all that was needed.
No, this would have had to have been noticed.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So we will.
Hold on. I don't have a date for that. But no, I have a date for that, April 16th.
Denise, could have been noticed with P1?
April.
Typically, it's done separately, but it could have, yes.
Providing public notice, I have that certificate of mailing for notices and photos showing the placement of. One, I apologize. I give it to the county attorney. I see a notice of amendment to comprehensive plan.
While we're checking that, do you want to just skip it and we'll
Go to
approve?
P13.
You already
Well,
got approved.
13,
Go ahead to
14, and 15,
P13.
we
Yep.
have June 22nd.
Do you want to
We'll
go
come
through?
back to 12.
Okay, sure. P13 is PDD 18-CU32.
It's not sufficient for that item.
Okay, so it's not sufficient, so we need to,
Well,
We'll have to continue the item.
okay.
why don't we ask,
The applicant.
Clark, do you have a copy of it? Okay, let's
Okay,
just
so it's P13.
move,
Okay,
we'll
thank
just
you.
move on and come
Sure.
back to it.
PDD 18-CU32. This is a conditional use in the name of Lordy Inc., doing business as Hilton Garden Inn, Wesley Chapel. It's for the sale of alcoholic beverages for COP, beer, wine, and liquor on premises consumption in conjunction with the hotel with outside seating and services of alcoholic beverages on patios in the Master Plan Unit Development District. This comes to you with a recommendation of approval with conditions from the Planning Commission and from the Planning and Development Department.
Okay, is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition to this item? Seeing no one, will remain on consent.
P14 is PDD 18-CU34. This is a conditional use as well, Cypress Creek NVH LLC for Mod Superfast Pizza. This is for the sale of alcoholic beverages, beer and wine only on premises consumption in conjunction with the operation of a restaurant with outside seating and services of alcoholic beverages on a patio in a Master Plan Unit Development District. This comes to you with a recommendation of approval with conditions from both the Planning Commission and the Planning and Development Department.
Okay, is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to this item? Seeing no one, leave it on consent.
Item P15 is PDD 18-7330. This is a rezoning application. West Chap 54 LLC. This is for a rezoning from an AR and a PO2 professional office district to a multifamily medium density district. This comes to you with a recommendation of approval from both the Planning Commission and the Planning and Development Department.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to this item? Seeing no one, it's on consent. And that's the last one. Or is that, we have
So you can-
P15? That was P15.
Yeah, you can take action on P13 through P15 and
We do
we'll,
have 12. We did find proof.
We do?
They did
Okay.
provide proof.
okay.
So if I can repeat that proof, then for P12, Tampa Bay Times 4/27, 2018, and affidavit of certified mailings with postings on site.
Okay. Is there anyone to speak in opposition of P12? Seeing no one, leave on consent.
Was P12 sufficiently read into record?
Why don't you read the title?
Do it again, okay. PDD 187298, this is Lacey Property MPUD, Lacey Family Living Trust, and this is a rezoning from AR to an MPUD. Comes to you
Again.
with a recommendation of approval from both the DRC and the Planning and Development Department.
Again, is there anyone here to object to that item? Seeing none, leave it on consent and
Okay.
take a motion.
So, move to consent.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign, motion carries. We will move on to P16.
Do you have approved Tampa Bay Times, June 22nd, 2018?
All right, so P16 is PDD 187333. This is in the name of Premium Land Trust. This is a rezoning from an AC agricultural district to an AR5 agricultural residential district. It's located in north central Pasco County, 650 feet north of Darby Road, 250 feet northeast of the terminus of Twin Lane, and the parcel contains 10 acres approximately. Here's the subject zoning, showing that it's AC agricultural district, and the surrounding zonings which show that they're AR5 and AC respectively, and AR. Here's the surrounding land use showing that it's AGR, which is 1 dwelling per 5 acres, the potential of. Here's the access to the site. And the reason why we're here today is that there was a code enforcement notice of violation on this parcel. The parcel contains a single-family dwelling and a detached garage that was converted to 3 apartments. Code enforcement went out to the location and issued several notices of violation, requesting that the applicant come into conformance and bring the detached garage, bring it back into non-habitable space, and the applicant has applied for the permits in order to do so. I do have officers, both the officers Jim Hunt and John Spocuglia here, who can speak to the matter. But the location based on the application for building permits is being brought into conformance, and there are no longer any inhabitants on the detached garage that was converted to 3 apartments. That is no longer the case. So in other words, once all the permits have already been issued, the applicant is working on obtaining all the inspections to have that conformance. And once that's done, the parcel will be in conformance with actually the AC district, which is 1 dwelling per 10 acres. So we'll then have 1 site-built home and 1 detached garage. The applicant intends to, in the future, shortly, hopefully after if this is approved, to make that garage into habitable space and obtain all required permits and pay all required mobility and impact fees that are associated with that use. So staff recommends approval of the rezoning from AC to AR5 to accommodate 2 site-built homes on the property.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you. So I'd like to hear from code enforcement.
Yes.
Before I speak any further on this issue. And I know we'll take public comment. I don't know if there's people signed up, because I think the chairman has the sheet, but why don't you speak to
You can read it.
some of the issues.
When it comes time.
Speak to some of the issues that have happened out there and the citations that have happened in the past.
Okay. I'm Officer Hunt, Code Officer 115. I'm a certified general contractor and state plans examiner. So we got a call violation. We went out, inspected the property, and did find that there was a violation. The garage unit that was permitted as garage with bathrooms had been turned into apartments.
Turned into what?
Apartments.
How many apartments?
3 apartments, 1 up, 2 down. Notified the owner, and she met us at the property. She was very cooperative through this whole process. So we gave her a 30-day warning. She couldn't vacate the units within 30 days, so automatically we go to citation. She did acquire the permits shortly after that, and which brings her into compliance. She called for inspection. All units are empty. There's no illegal residents there. So by building code, fire, and zoning, she's now in compliance. So we withdrew
She's not
the
in
five.
compliance?
Pardon?
Okay.
We withdrew the $500 citation because what we're mandated or directed by state attorney's office is just to get the people in compliance. She is turning the garage into a legal, it's already been approved by plans, legal detached game room. It's been approved. It's a very simple project. So at this time, she's come into compliance with zoning, with building, and we have no issues at the property at this time.
So-
She's a local certified general contractor. She will close her permit. She's got, I believe she's building 3 houses right now. So,
Okay, so how long had the illegal building been apartments for? How many years?
we're not exactly sure.
You don't have an idea? Had code enforcement been called in the past?
Code enforcement was called out, and it was
How many
unfounded at the time, being it's kind of in a remote location. They went back, they couldn't see any evidence at that time. Officer Spaguli and I went out, and we did make contact with one of the tenants, so that's when we
What was the
immediately
first
issued.
call? How many years was the first, ago was the first call made? Do you know?
About a year ago, it was
Was the first
complaint
call that was
based.
ever made a year ago?
I believe so. There were no warnings issued. This is the first warning on the property, is the one I issued.
Mr. Chairman, while the background of the code enforcement action is relevant for historical perspective, your land use decision, based on the fact that the property is now in compliance, it's not relevant. You're still charged with, is this new Euclidean zoning category of AR5 consistent with the comprehensive plan, compatible, and that upzone from AC to AR5, is that consistent with your codes and your plan? What the applicant chooses to do with it post, so long as it is consistent with the AR5 category, is the applicant's business.
So, and I can appreciate that. I'm just trying to figure out, a little bit more of the history of what's going on now. So you're saying that now it's in compliance?
Right, she's paid for the permits, the plans are approved. It will simply be a single-family residence, with a detached game room, which is common.
Sure.
It can be a man cave.
So that's what we're looking at with that,
right,
with that building. But what we're being asked today is to upzone it to allow additional buildings, Mr. County Attorney.
Actually, the building, the proposed, the garage.
Are there additional residents, or are we going back to looking at trying to make it a duplex or triplex or something like that?
Her plan is to split the parcel and leave one single-family residence, which has been there for a while, and the garage, which is going to be a game room soon. Then it can be converted legally to meet wind, fire, building code into a single-family residence. And
Single-family residence, not
right,
a
correct.
duplex or triplex?
No, that's not permitted. She understands that.
Okay. So we're looking at dividing the property up and having how many single-family residents?
Total of 2 single-family dwellings,
Fine.
one on, each on
Two
5
single-family
acres.
dwellings, but, and you're saying no duplexes or triplexes?
Duplexes or triplexes are not permitted uses in the AR5 district. AR5 only allows site-built homes.
Right. But that's what it was at one time.
That's correct.
But illegally.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if I
I'm good for
could,
now.
if I,
I know we need public comment too, but I
Yeah.
wanted to try to get some things straightened out here. to figure out
I just
what's
want to make
going
sure I
on.
heard you correctly. You said that this person's a general contractor and they were doing unlicensed, unpermitted work on their property and they're a general contractor?
We believe that to be true.
Now, I know
There's an
I've,
ordinance against that, right?
yes, there is.
We don't have any forensic evidence on a remote parcel like that, but it appears that, yeah.
Okay, and the reason I heard Commissioner Moore ask about how long it's been there, but I know I've seen several times where code uses Google Maps to go back and see how long a structure's been there. You guys, I'm assuming, did that, and you know how long the structure's been there.
The structure, the permit's gone, so the structure's been over 10 years, the detached garage. But as far as being converted into habitable, we can't be exactly sure when that occurred.
Okay, and the other, I remember, again, I remember seeing some pictures on it, it's been a little while, but the other building, you're saying single family, it's not multifamily, because I thought there was 2 ways in, 2 ways out, not a front door, there's 2 side doors.
It's
Is that not the
actually,
case?
correct. You can legally have, it does have 2 kitchens. There is a walk-through, but it's not legally separated into 2 residences. So you are permitted, as long as there, as a state plans examiner, I can tell you, that you are permitted 2 kitchens in a home as long as every room in that house is accessible, and it is. It is not cut in half, there's no, if it was 2 residents, it would require a firewall, many other items, and zoning approval. So right now, it happens to be a home with 2 kitchens, more like you keep your mother-in-law over there.
You can have 2 kitchens in one house?
Yes,
Pasco
as long
County?
as there's no tenant separation or common party walls, and you have complete access to each and every single area, and the front door of the house remains single-family in nature, yes. That's how there's a lot of, for example, like in-laws that live, so you'll have a wing of the house that's kind of for your in-laws, or, yeah. Yeah,
I love my in-laws, but I'm just saying.
So that's exactly why
Mine's
that you
in,
want
but
them
we
to
wouldn't let her
cook
have
in,
a kitchen.
that's why you want them to cook in a separate kitchen and have, yeah.
So let me ask you this, I know Denise, we met on this, as far as getting with the property appraiser, as far as them getting homestead or not getting homestead on this property that was unpermitted work and somebody was living there. Did you get an answer back from Mr. Joyner on that?
I have not, that just happened yesterday, so what I'll do is I will follow up on that item.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay, Commissioner Starkey.
Did you say the garage was built with bathrooms in the plural?
Bathrooms, yes, that's
That
always
is-
permitted. That's very common, actually.
It is?
Sure, there's, Pasco County has some of the more unique buildings. There are homes built inside of barns. I mean, you name it, we have it in Pasco County.
But you said more than 1 bathroom in the barn? I mean, in the garage?
Right.
But but that was after the fact. So the garage permit, when it was issued in 2008, there may have been, just like everybody has like a mud room or whatever, because if you get dirty and do different, the garage is quite a ways away from the house.
Okay.
So you may
Well, I
want
could see
to
one,
shower or
But
whatever.
when you're putting multiple
Yeah,
bathrooms in the
I
garage,
think that the
that's
multiple
like
was
ding, ding,
done
ding, ding.
unpermitted.
Mr. Chairman,
Bathroom upstairs is unpermitted for sure. That's, like we said, we keep commercial
Mr.
projects
Chairman.
forever.
Okay.
I'll remind the board again, you're not here hearing a code enforcement case. You're hearing a case on whether or not this property should be changed to AR5. You're looking at a zoning map that this is an isolated portion of AC. It looks to be transitional. It
I'm okay
directly
with
abuts
that.
AR5.
I'll make a motion to
We gotta
approve.
have
Okay, well, we got public
comment.
comment, I believe the applicant, I don't know if the applicant's here, so, would the applicant or applicant's representative like to speak?
Mr. Chairman, real quick, and I just think it's, we're just asking these questions no matter where it is or whoever,
Yeah.
who has the property, but, we get to we just want to make sure all those things are straightened out, because the last thing you need too, whether you be the applicant, is for something to come back and bite you down the road. So, you don't need to move forward with something and then still have possible violations, and then it comes back and hurts you.
The permits are open, she has 6 months, it'll be on our radar, she's gonna call me for a final. Her inspections will be done by her engineer. We are permitted to do a final, and that final will be done within 6 months. A general contractor sworn to the state is not allowed to leave permits open. So if she wants her license, in good standing, she's gonna have to close those permits illegally. Or she won't be able to sell that parcel, period. Can't sell it with an open permit.
Okay, would the applicant like to speak? And you have been sworn?
Yes.
Okay, if you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Natalie Insignaris, 27338 Elkwood Circle, Wesley Chapel, Florida, 33544. I thought this was a rezoning
Can
here.
you pull the microphone closer, just
Sorry.
pull it up
up a little.
I thought I was here for rezoning. I did do everything that code enforcement asked me to do. Everything's been completed. The court date has already been dismissed because I came into compliance. And everything around me is already AR5, and some is Res 1, so I didn't think there was a problem splitting it up. I do plan on turning the back building into a house, and it'll have its own entrance, and that would be one house per 5 acres.
Good. Any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. Okay, this is a public hearing. I don't believe I have anyone else signed up. Would anybody else like to speak on this item? Please come forward, and if you've been sworn, and just your name and address for the record.
John Nicoletti, 29321 Darby Road. The zoning issue, to me, is not the problem. The problem that I have is everyone keeps saying that it's in compliance. If you have a permit and it's not finalized, it's not in compliance. The inspector said that as a contractor, you're obligated to do certain things. We already know that's not true in this case. We have a triplex, we have a duplex that is on a property that has been there for 10 years, and my quality of life should not be one that I've been sitting back, and I have sat back for all these years with a property that has 10 cars going up and down, 5 units, and all of those things. But that's not the issue. The issue becomes, I'm concerned that if we go through with the zoning without a condition is very simple. The condition would be one that you could say, we have no problem, but you will fulfill your obligations. You do it all the time. You put conditions all the time. And this is one that I feel that would be fair as a property owner, and in return, as the commissioner and the county having the ability. They even mentioned themselves that it's been years since they've been able to go back there. Another thing that the inspector mentioned, that the one main house is there, but it has 2 entrances. I understand what it's saying, but the definition of a duplex is a home that has 2 entrances and 2 families living in it. They've been living in it forever. The triplex, they've been living in it forever. She's a contractor. She's not John Doe Public. And my only concern is that I would respect and request that the commissioners at least take consideration to approve, but with conditions. And the conditions that would assure me as a property owner and would be advantageous to all the landowners are that it gets done. That it gets done.
Question for the county attorney. So if we have one house, but 2 families living in it, is that something we control?
You don't regulate the number of families living in a single-family dwelling unit, no. You can.
Well, but so if there's a house with 2 kitchens and 2 entrances, and it's rented to 2 families, that's not something under us?
Again, now you're talking about a code enforcement case, not the land use case that is before you. And I mean, this board doesn't do that. And if there is a legitimate code enforcement case, then code enforcement should be following up on that. But this isn't the forum for that debate.
But we do have the property owner here, and can we ask her under oath if there's 1 family renting in there or 2, or?
As I said, it is not relevant to the decision you're making today.
Commissioners, it was just mentioned earlier that a duplex is not allowed on the zoning that they are requesting, period. The definition, very simply, is A duplex is a home divided into an apartment, 2 apartments with 2 entrances. And I guess it would be a simple thing if you would like, go back and ask the applicant,
Right.
have you been renting this duplex?
But I think what the attorney's saying is that's not the issue in front of us. That if that were, that's another enforcement action and not the vote that we have to take.
Wouldn't it be easy as a option to put a condition, which you do it all the time?
No,
So
this is a Euclidean zoning. It cannot be conditioned under Florida law.
Okay, so with that,
Well, did I
Yeah, go
think
ahead.
I think what the county attorney is basically saying is, again, we all heard that it's a zoning. So whether it be this property or another property, it doesn't matter let's just be general here, another property, you think, and then I see Denise over there. If you think there is a duplex or a triplex on a property and it shouldn't be there, if somebody turns that person in or that property owner in, or if code enforcement comes out and finds that to be the fact, then if it's during the the shoot, for one thing, they wouldn't get the final permit, the CO, right? Correct? Wait, hold on a second. Somebody wouldn't get the CO if they're building a triplex on a property that's not zoned for it, so they won't get the CO. And in addition, code could come out there if for some reason it ended up being that way at a future time. So
a question
I don't
that-
think, well, hold on.
Yeah,
I
a
don't
question
think-
to,
John, you gotta hold on.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Back to the county attorney, again, to Mr. Nicoletti's point, I don't think, you can't put a condition on a zoning that meets the criteria of the zoning. It would, what do you see what I'm saying? So you can't say no triplexes because it's already forbidden on the property.
Right, you can't condition a straight or Euclidean zoning. You can only condition an MPUD. That's where there traditionally are conditions on a project. If it is not a permitted use for that zoning classification, it's not a permitted use for that zoning classification, and the county can take enforcement actions.
Right. So the CO won't happen if that's found out to be true.
Well, so they shouldn't be able to get a building permit approved.
Right. Correct, but they wouldn't get the CO either.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm being general.
No.
I'm being general.
Very, very understood. One of the things now I have a question to is that since the property was a 20-acre parcel and it already has been divided at one time in a parent parcel, they will have to come before you for a PUD, I'm asking. Is that correct? Since it's already been split?
Denise?
So what they would have to do is not a PUD, they would have to do a preliminary development plan. So in order to divide the property once more. So if it's a division of a non-parent parcel, they'll have to do a preliminary development plan.
Which will go to the planning commission or?
No, that's staff
Just the
approved.
staff?
Staff approved, yes.
Okay. Any other questions from Mr. Nicoletti?
I appreciate all the commissioners and all the staff, and thank you very much. And
Thank you.
another thing is, I have no problem with the zoning. We're trying to do the best that we can to make sure everything's correct. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to speak on this item? Okay, seeing no one to the board.
Move for approval.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. P17.
To approve Tampa Bay Times, June 30th and July 7th, 2018.
Good afternoon, Heather Wolf, Real Property and Planning. The Real Property and Planning team has received a petition to vacate filed by Lane Road Project LLC. The petitioners seek to vacate a portion of an undeveloped platted right-of-way containing 0.67 acres. It is located in Zephyr Hills. The purpose of this vacation is for the proposed future development of the Lane Road and PUD project. The petitioners own all the adjacent lands to the east and to the west of the proposed vacation area. There have been no objections to this petition, and the Real Property and Planning team recommends approval.
Okay, would the applicant or applicant's representative like to speak on this item? Okay. This is a public hearing. I do not have anyone signed up for this item. If you'd like to speak on this item, please come forward. Seeing no one, it's to the board.
Move approval?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. P18. Fall asleep.
Do you have approved Tampa Bay Times, June 29th, 2018?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tarios Pitos with Planning and Development. To give a little context to P17, we have PDD 18-1238, which is P18, a large-scale comprehensive plan amendment in the name of CPL 1806 Lane Road. CPL 1806 is a proposed large-scale plan amendment to go from Res 3, residential 3 dwelling units per gross acre, and Res 9, residential 9 dwelling units per gross acre, to Res 6, residential dwelling units, 6 dwelling units per gross acre. It is located in the southeast portions of Pasco County, near Zephyr Hills, as you can see on the location map. This is an aerial of the subject site. It is about 1,300 feet south of State Road 54, bounded by Lane Road on the east and Allen Road on the west. The intent of this comprehensive plan is to build approximately 336 single-family dwelling units with main access coming off of Allen Road and emergency access planned for Lane Road in the future. To the north of the site is R3 and C2 zoning districts, along with Res 9 and ROR future land use designations. To the south is AR zoning and Res 3 future land use. To the east is R3 AR RMH zoning and Res 9 future land use. And to the west is AR C1 and C2 zoning with some R1MH and Res 3 and Res 6 future land use. I'll just go back to the aerial so you can kind of get a sense of how those land uses play out. The proposed future land use, or the proposal here, is to go from Res 3 and Res 9 and redesignate the subject property to Res 6. This is the existing future land use map. This is the proposed future land use map showing the Res 6 application. The surrounding flu designations of Res 6 and Res 9 typically permit higher density levels, or equal to density levels, than what is currently there today. So it is the Res 6 that's proposed is compatible and appropriate for the location. Transportation needs assessment was conducted, and it concludes that existing capacity is adequate to accommodate future traffic forecasts. And PDD is recommending to authorize the transmittal of this large-scale comprehensive plan amendment to the Department of Economic Opportunity and other reviewing agencies. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, does the applicant or applicant's representative would like to speak on this item?
Barbara Wilhite, 2523 Permit Place, Newport Richey, Florida 34655. I've sat on that bench for so long I had to get up and say hi.
Yeah, my legs are going now.
The applicant, my client, we are in support of staff's recommendation, and we are here if there's any questions. Thank you.
I do not have anyone else signed up for this item. If you'd like to speak on this item, please come forward. Seeing no one, it's to the board.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. P19.
We do have approved Tampa Bay Times, July 22nd, 2018.
Good afternoon, Bob Gregg, Pasco County Budget Director. The purpose of P19 is to conduct a Tax Equity Fiscal Responsibility Act, otherwise known as TEFRA hearing, and adopt resolution granting approval for the Capital Trust Agency bond financing for educational facilities revenue bonds, otherwise known as the Florida Charter Educational Foundation, Inc. This requires no county-wide funding. This is a hearing for purposes of the Federal Tax Equity and Fiscal Responsibility Act as required by Section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code regarding the possible issuance by the Capital Trust Agency of one or more series of its educational facilities revenue bonds. the Florida Charter Educational Foundation, Inc. projects is an aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $30 million. The bonds are being used for the purpose of financing or refinancing, including through reimbursement, the acquisition of 2 charter school facilities located in the state of Florida, one of which is located in Wesley Chapel, Pasco County, the other charter school located in Riverview, which is in Hillsborough County. The Pasco County facility is approximately 39,000 square feet. It's a charter school facility to accommodate up to 765 students in grades K through 8 at full occupancy, including related facilities, fixtures, furniture, and equipment. This school will be known as the Union Park Charter Academy, located at 32775 Old Woods Avenue, Wesley Chapel, Pasco County, Florida, to be financed or refinanced from a portion of the proceeds of the bonds in an amount not to exceed $15 million, provided, however, such acquisition does not include the land of which such facility is located. The proceeds of the bonds will be loaned to the Florida Charter Educational Foundation, a Florida nonprofit corporation, and or one or more related and or affiliate entities, for the purpose of financing or refinancing, including through reimbursement, the acquisition of educational facilities, the funding of capitalized interest on the bonds, the funding of one or more debt service reserve funds for the bonds, and the payment of certain costs of issuing the bonds. Based solely upon representations and information provided by the borrower, the issuance of the bonds to finance the project is appropriate to the needs and circumstances of, and will make a significant contribution to the economic growth of the county, will provide gainful employment within the county, and will promote commerce within the state of Florida, and will serve a public purpose by advancing the economic prosperity, public health, and general welfare of the state and its people by providing for an educational facility within the meaning of Chapter 159, Part 2 of the Florida statute. The bonds will expressly state that none of the Capital Trust Agency, the City of Gulf Breeze, Florida, Pasco County, Florida, Hillsborough County, the State of Florida, or any other municipality, public subdivision, or public agency of the State of Florida are liable to pay any part of the principal and or interest in the bonds. The maximum amount of the tax-exempt bonds to be issued to provide funds for the project will be approximately $30 million. It's important to know for the public that these are not county funds that are being borrowed, and the county is not on the hook or is not required to pay back any of the interest or the principal of this loan. At this time, Mr. Chair, I'd like to request a public hearing.
I guess I'm still trying to figure out
what
we're doing here.
Yeah, why is it coming to us?
It's not our fund, so.
These are
They're tax-
similar to the industrial revenue bonds that you issue. This is a different type of TEFRA hearing for educational facilities. And so you are the authority that holds a public hearing and has to bless it as the jurisdiction which the school is going to be located in. And that's really your sole purpose here.
So no local, no county funds, no local taxpayer funds.
That's correct.
We were the closest thing to authority or
You did one
body to approve something.
You did one of these for an
they
ALF in Wesley Chapel most recently.
Yeah,
Similar sort of process.
So basically, the feds just pass it down the line and get to us to help them. Is that what we're saying?
There's a requirement of the IRS to issue tax-exempt bonds. The IRS requires a
Just to
public
hold a
hearing.
public hearing to see
by
if
the
there's
board.
anybody objection, and we're just the body that has to hold that public hearing.
Yes, correct.
Interesting.
Question.
Yes, Mike.
So assume that someone will vet them before they give them the money. I mean, I don't know who this organization is. I know who Union Park is, but I have no idea who these people are, right? But there is a whole process, I would assume, so that they know they're going to get their money back.
Yes, the
Or
Capital
have
Trust.
reasonable-
The Capital Trust Agency is the actual body that will be loaning the money to the Educational Foundation, and they've done the background research.
Yeah, so
on
someone's
those
done
folks.
something.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
It's odd. we see this. I tried to look at it online, and every time I clicked on this part of the agenda, it told me I was not authorized to look at it.
Well.
Just saying. So then I really was going, what's going on here? Well, I don't, you know. Okay,
Okay, this, any other questions?
public hearing?
This is a public hearing. I do not have anyone signed up. If you'd like to speak on this item, please come forward.
See no one, move for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. We are now finished with public hearing agenda. We will go back to AR1. Mr. Rosenthal, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, Mr. Chairman. Don Rosenthal, Assistant County Administrator, Development Services. I'm here today to advocate for the confirmation of Mr. Nectarius Terry Pitos as our next Planning and Development Director. Mr. Pitos has both a bachelor and master's degree in planning, and I'm going to let him come to the platform and tell you a little bit more about himself. Mr. Pitos, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank the board for the opportunity to have worked for Pasco County these last couple of months and to lead the Long Range Planning Division as well as the Planning and Development Department in an acting role thus far. It's very much been a humbling experience for me and get to work with a lot of talented people in that department. As Mr. Rosenthal mentioned, I have a master's degree in urban planning and policy from the University of Illinois at Chicago. I've been a professional urban planner for 15 years, 10 of which as AICP certified. And I have experience in almost all of the various planning disciplines, from transportation, alternative transportation, sustainability, resource preservation, development review, and so on. And I've led many a multidisciplinary team and project managed or guided over about 300 development projects from concept to CO through the planning, engineering, and building functions and reviews. I've also worked on a number of regional committees, most notably the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning's Land Use Committee and the Southwest Conference of Mayors for the Bike Ped Task Force that they had. So I've come from Chicago, as you can technically see. Since October, I've worked for Pasco County's Long Range Planning Division, and I've been fortunate to be part of a team to rebuild it, to retool it, to streamline the comprehensive plan amendment process. I know you guys don't see too much of that, but on our end, it's been a good thing. We've worked together with other team members to cross-train staff on zoning reviews, launched a couple of various initiatives like the zoning rewrite, and recently completed the US 301 Corridor Model Development Code through a state-funded technical assistance grant. While much of my career has been in Chicago, Pasco County is now my home. I live here now, and now I work here too. And I'm delighted at the prospect of pursuing these more opportunities and unique opportunities to make Pasco County premier in a great place.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, if we could get a vote of confirmation.
Move approval. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Last but not least, is he still here?
R9.
Oh, there you are, yes. Okay, I see you guys. I see you guys back there. Come on, you got 2 minutes. I'm just kidding.
This is
Kinda.
Commissioner, this is interactive discussion. That means you're going to have to actually participate.
Oh, my.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
You hear that, Catherine?
It's our cell phones that we're gonna have to
You
tap
may-
in.
We actually brought tools in case you didn't put the app on your cell phone. So we have implements and, oh, I apologize. Sean McGarvey, Library Administrator, Kevin Griffith, Library Administrator, Connor Malone, IT Technician for Libraries. May I approach the dais?
Yes, sir. What is the app?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
So thank you for the time today, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to present our 2018-2021 strategic plan. This is required by the state to set the direction for your Pasco County Library Cooperative and where we wish to go. As you can see on the first inside page, those topics probably look a little bit familiar. That's because we work very closely with the county's strategic plan to try and build the community and the cultural offerings that this county deserves. It was quite rewarding earlier to see Dr. Bellis's presentation and to see that the people of the county ranked us so highly and thought so well of us. We intend to continue that trend by making innovation one of our cornerstones. And we are showing this off today by using a little bit of a product called augmented reality. So if you download the app called Layar, L-A-Y-A-R, and put it on your phone, if you activate it, all you do is hold it over the front page or any of the pages, take the picture once it scans, and it will take you to either some of our videos, photo galleries, or even statistics pages in our friends' websites. So it allows us to pack a large amount of information into something that's quickly readable and easy to hand out. So you get the best of both worlds. If people are more interested, they can continue to explore and see some of our more interactive features. So if any of the board wishes to try it out right now, oh, I have the clicker, I forgot. So all you do is hold your phone or one of these items, if you need one, over until it glows blue and scans. And at that point, it will bring up some of the media we have embedded.
What do you mean hold it over?
Wait, did you say we needed a nap first?
Other way
Wait,
around.
so we just go, do you want us to find our, let's
And then whichever page you want, just hold you have to hold it up high enough so it'll actually read one of the pages. Hold it up against that. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, the tablet's the one catches, they have to be bigger, so it takes a little bit wider view.
I'll use my phone.
The QR?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It actually uses a different system. It actually just scans the actual picture and loads it up.
So where do I go to hold it up? Just
The young gentleman with the glasses behind you will absolutely show you.
No, I want it on here. So tap screen. Tap screen.
I actually turned off the Wi-Fi on all these just to see Kevin and Connor struggle.
Oh,
Okay, so I guess you have to hold it over.
What, am I supposed to be saying something? Because mine keeps saying no contact.
okay.
So that's what
1 second. Connor will come around and give you a hand.
You got something?
What'll happen is it's not loading. It's not really loading on the pad.
Am I on the wrong page?
It's showing up, but it's not loading.
I trust you.
Supposed to bring us to YouTube? Yes. Got it. See that? Look at me. My son will be proud.
Shut right back down.
No, now what?
Oh.
No.
Well, how do you know
Bring
what
file
to
to
take in?
life?
Oh, yeah.
Bring print to life?
Error.
Scan QR
It's me and technology.
It'll look at it. Oh, yeah. And then what it'll do is that's it processing.
They all worked on my phone.
Yeah.
It died.
Oh.
I don't know. On a phone, it works very well.
Yeah.
On a pad, it's not working at all.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's
Wow.
moving.
That's
Is that what
cool.
it's supposed to do? The things are moving? The things are moving on? the
Yeah,
page?
it's a picture slideshow. Yes, ma'am.
Now, how do we know where and when to use this?
It says on the actual strategic plan in the front how to do it in quick directions. Yes, ma'am. Right there.
But I mean, are there other applications I can use this? You gotta have the AR logo?
Oh, yes, this has to be plugged in on certain things. It was relatively cheap is not the right word, but it was relatively affordable to in place, and it is usable in many other types of documentation and systems. It's just one of the things we've worked on to try and, well, innovate.
Tourism should get this. This is pretty cool.
It does work. If there are any other questions from the board?
Yes, ma'am.
So I understand that at our in-service in September, some library team members are going to assist my team.
Yes, ma'am.
So are you going to teach them this?
We can. Anything you want to learn, we will absolutely teach it.
That's cool. Thank you. Appreciate you helping with that, too.
Our pleasure. It's what we like to do. We can also bring a variety of fun stuff, and, you know, we have lots of cool things.
Great. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I know a few years ago we talked about doing a Battle of the Bands again. Are you guys still interested in doing one like that?
If the opportunity arises, sir, we would absolutely look into it.
The county is just, as of today, taking over control of Sunwest Park as of October 1st, so put your thinking cap on, perfect time to go do it.
We will absolutely coordinate with Mr. Wiley over there.
That's not it, is it? You got more for us? You got more for us? That's it? I waited all day now. Again, thank you for what you do, for the shoestring budget and the team you have. As innovative as you are, it's all about the team. So I thank you all the time. Your entire team. Where's your other partner at?
She is with grandkids right now.
Good for her. Okay, that's more important than being here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay.
And I would just like to say, sir, that we couldn't do this, Kevin and I and Nancy, without the staff such as Connor and the others with backing us up. So
that's what it's about. Thank you. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a lot of visits to the library, by the way. I hope you see that.
Move approval?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Now it's time for all business. Start with Commissioner Oakley.
Just for your knowledge, we're getting 3 new lights coming in my district. One of them at Handcart and Island, and I've asked for a possible ribbon cutting at that light. That light means so much, and the safety of that light in our community has, the community's really come out and they've really wanted that light. So I've made it one of the priorities of that light being turned on first. It should be flashing now, and it's supposed to go live next Sunday. And so next week it'll be working properly. It'll be on timed changing. It won't be automatic if somebody pulls up to it for a while. It'll take a couple more weeks for them to get it automatic to have a system in the roadway where you pull up and it'll change when people pull up there. But it'll be timed at first. So, and then the next light is at Geiger and Island, and then another light at Coates and Chancellor Road. Those 3 lights are very important. We've got so much growth going on in our community. These lights are needed, and school opens next Monday. It's pretty important to have that light working at that time. So it looks like everything's going to be worked out where that light's working, and the community will be going to work, and they'll be carrying kids to school, and that light will be working. And it's right on the curve. It's really been a dangerous location. Wow. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Moore.
Exciting that the light's being done, isn't it?
Yes.
When you need them.
I know. Anyways. So I just had a couple things, just something for maybe staff and the board to think about. You know, as some of us, have possibly had a few opportunities to travel with families throughout the summer, you notice different things in different communities and in different counties and different states. And one of the things I notice on a regular basis is when it comes, we talk about recycling here, and we're pushing a new recycling program for the county, but personally I think one of the things we can do better as a county is recycling ourselves and having a little bit more focus on that. So what I see in a lot of different cities, whether in counties, is if there are parks, whether it be a county park or a state park or a federal park, or whatever it may be, actual recycling bins in place on property. So if I think about, Wesley Chapel Bishop Park, which I'm at multiple times a week for coaching kids, sports and things like that, we don't have recycling bins for plastic or cans by the concession stands or by the garbage cans or anything remotely close to there. I think it's something we should definitely, you guys are smiling like you've already considered this, okay? Well, I think, but it shouldn't be, I don't think it should go under as much parks or it needs to go under some type of utilities or recycling. I mean, Jennifer's group and maybe working with haulers or whomever is out there. But, we talk about obviously looking for additional space for at our landfill. Our incinerators are getting full. Well, let's not be an extra cause of that ourselves. So I'd like to see it at least at our county parks and probably at our maybe outside our libraries too, recycling bins for plastic bottles and for cans and possibly for glass at each and every one of them. Now I'm not talking about the bins we see at some of the libraries we can throw cardboard in. I'm talking about the actual containers where you can put a plastic bottle in, you can put a can in here, and then right here and next to that is garbage. Just makes sense. We're asking the community to do it and the community to step up when it comes to recycling. So I think we could do that ourselves. My opinion. I don't know if everybody would agree to that, but agree with that. It makes sense. I mean, West Park, for example, you have a lot of people out there with concessions, obviously drinking sodas and water and things like that.
If that's a motion, I'll second it.
Yeah.
I mean, well, if there's a motion in place, but I think
we can work on solid waste between parks and libraries. We'll work on it.
Yeah, I mean, solid waste and being an enterprise fund, I think they should actually have hopefully the funding to place those in those locations. We don't want to put it on parks back to have to pay for that. I think solid waste should provide those services in that funding. So I'll keep going on this subject for a second. Like our county buildings on the west side of the county, on I think 2 floors, you have the filtered water stations where the water fountains, I guess, once were. It'd be nice to see those in additional spots. For example, here in Dade City, it would be great to have one there because, as you probably know, because of requirements and talking to the clerk's office, when it comes to buying water, our Commissioner Oakley and I, at least on this side, along with our assistants, pay for water. We have water bottles. Each bottle you see in front of you, we pay for. The county does not pay for this.
We provide it.
We provide it. These right here, we're buying. So I buy it, Oakley buys it, and our assistants all chip in. We pay for this on a monthly basis.
That shouldn't be the case.
No, we recently fixed that.
Yeah.
We recently fixed that.
That shouldn't be the case.
Well, it's like,
We shouldn't say, we've been, well.
I was buying the coffee on the other side. And that was my coffee machine.
We've been doing it.
We've been paying for it. So, but anyways.
Thank you.
But what we could do, obviously, is have those stations here, so we could utilize that, and then guess what? We're getting rid of these plastic
I
bottles.
like that. I've been working on my
And we can go back to the pictures and put pictures here, or whatever we need to do. So
The
just
employees use it all the time.
and just thinking about, doing our part as a county to save on our incinerators and our own landfills, and just makes sense to me.
Yep.
So if we can get those, look at getting those installed, in the long run, we get a better.
I think we have a long range plan to get those a lot of places our people work.
We're seeing them, you see them more and more.
Yeah. Eric, you want to address that?
Where is it?
Afternoon, Commission, Mr. Chairman. Eric Breitenbach, Assistant County Administrator, Internal Services. Commissioner Moore, I thank you for noticing the water bottle filling stations. We started installing them probably maybe 2.5 years ago in the Government Center, and I know there are a couple that are in the Government Center, but there are also 2 or 3 other buildings on the west side that have those filling stations, and you're absolutely right. They're popular with employees and citizens that come use them. And as the county administrator said, we do have a long-term plan to phase them in. They're not necessarily as cheap or as inexpensive as regular water bubbler, but we do have plans to install them, and I'll see if we can get this building up a little higher on the list. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be upstairs and downstairs. Downstairs is fine.
Sure.
Okay. That's all I have.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you. Commissioner Starkey?
Yesterday, we had a ribbon cutting for the mile stretch sidewalk. And this was something that one of my constituents, our constituents, Ron Arlotta worked very hard on. If you might remember, a few years ago, he and I went, knocked on every single door to see if we could get the right-of-way donated. And residents are very happy to have that sidewalk. And while we were cutting the ribbon, we had a couple of residents go by on their bicycles, and I was told that was illegal for them to be on the sidewalk on their bikes, technically, but it would be very dangerous for them to be in the street there's absolutely no bike shoulder on mile stretch. So I don't think that's good policy, and I would like to see what we can do to allow bicycles on the 5-foot sidewalks. I see it all over the place, so I don't know why that should be against the rules. Want to let you know we're working on.
Can you hang on a thought?
Yeah.
Because I want to know, is that a law that comes up from us?
I think that's
federal?
I think it's state.
That is a Florida state statute in the 316 statute system. So that is something that is the proper use of bikes on Florida highways where there is either a bike trail or a bike shoulder, as you called it, versus a sidewalk. Technically, it is illegal to operate them on the sidewalk. That's something that and I don't speak for the sheriff's office at all, but typically across the state, law enforcement does not enforce bike operation on sidewalks because they see that it is a danger. But it is actually technically in the Florida state statutes.
Did you say if there is a bike shoulder, you have to be on the bike shoulder?
I cannot speak to that authority. It's been a few years since I've done that, but I can certainly get into my Google machine and look it over here.
All right, because there is no bike shoulder there, and I do think we need to look at lowering the speed of that road. It was pretty crazy how fast the cars were going down. And all of us that were there for the ribbon cutting were commenting that speed is really too fast for, there are a lot of houses on that road that back out. I mean, they back out onto that road and they're coming 50 miles an hour down that road, so it's.
Is that the speed limit, or is that what they're driving?
The speed limit is 45.
Okay.
Yeah, so. Just to let you know, we're working on, they've already started construction on the Starkey Gap, but we are gonna schedule a groundbreaking for that trail. And then when it's done, we're gonna have a humongous ribbon cutting when we connect the Pinellas Trail to the Starkey Trail, and that will be the largest piece of the coast-to-coast trail getting connected. So we anticipate inviting counties from all across the state and DOT and lots of bikers to that event. We'll also be having something for the coastal trail coming up soon as well. I checked on the landscaping for 19, and the contract's under a 30-day review, so I'm hoping in the next 60 days we can kick off that project. I wondered if you noticed in the paper the story today about the house in Hudson with Airbnb. Is that where it was? Yes, which, of course, is illegal. You're not allowed to have a short-term rental unless it's grandfathered in our county. So, but apparently this is one of the top Airbnbs around. And so there is that problem that we need to address sometime.
Agree.
So I just want to let you know at the NACO conference, I was appointed to be chair of the International Economic Development Council. And I met the new person who took Billy's place at the White House. Her name is Britt, and we've invited some of the Washington folks down to come see AMSCOs. We had a conference call with the Department of Labor on it yesterday, with DEO and Harry, our lobbyist up in Washington, and others. I did want to know if there's anything going on with the opportunity zones yet in our county. Has anyone applied for any projects? I had asked
I don't know,
about
but we can look into that.
Yeah, so, apparently there are counties that are much more involved in those opportunity zones than we appear to be. So I think we need to be really looking at that opportunity. The ballots, the voting day is coming, and we have 4 items from the county on the ballot. When are we gonna have a plan to inform the public about what it is that we're hoping they will approve?
Yeah, we have that, but we're not rolling it out yet. When we get past the primary and then roll out the education piece. We have a team that's starting to already go out when they're invited to educate and talk to various organizations about this.
Okay, because there are people that I think are on the library board and the
Right.
parks board that are ready to go out and advocate for it, but they want to know what the plan is.
And we have the material for them. It's just a matter of.
They're going to educate.
Educate. That's, what did I say?
Advocate.
Educate, not advocate, yes. Then I wanted, I know many of you have been keeping my son-in-law in your prayers while he served in Baghdad, and he is back in the United States, but now is in Hickam Air Force Base in Hawaii, so thank you very much for keeping him in your thoughts. And lastly, I wanted to let you know, if you didn't know, that Ted Phillips passed away this week. So there will be a service Thursday at 2 o'clock in Dade City at the Methodist Church, and then a gathering at Lake Jovita Country Club after. But I wondered if it would be appropriate for the county to send them something. They have been such great friends to the county. And you could see Ted's health was declining, but I thought he looked better this year. But anyway, Ted and Avis were approaching their 65th wedding anniversary, and just wonderful family, and so we need to keep the Phillips family in our prayers, and that's all I have.
Commissioner Mariano?
Okay. And I would like to see the board at some point talk about Airbnbs, to bring it up and have a discussion. We saw on the housing thing, it actually talks about, it's probably a good idea for some areas to actually have it.
Oh, yeah.
I know some people have rental property, and, they rent out to some of these people. One of them rented out to some people, and a gang ended up taking the house over. And it took them 4 months to get them out. By the time they get them evicted, they took out all the appliances, all the stuff, and while the people were being evicted, the sheriff's deputy was telling them, well, there's nothing I can do while they're taking the stuff away. It's a civil matter. So this is a better alternative for them. I think it's a good discussion to open up.
If you don't mind me interrupting you on that, when I attended the ULI conference in Naples, they did a breakout on short-term rentals and tiny homes. That was combined together. And there are actually short-term rental communities now being permitted, where that area is just, so everybody knows, if you're gonna buy in this building or buy on these 2 streets, this is a short-term rental community, so you're not upset if you have people going in and out that you don't know from the neighbors, so everyone's on the same page. And I thought it was a fascinating breakout, but there are ways to deal with these kind of communities.
So maybe we set up a time to have maybe TDC come before us, or even another presentation from ULI come before us, and let's have that conversation, figure out what we want to do. Great news, the Hicks Road sidewalk project. I think the last parcels are on today's agenda, if not coming up, but that'll start the construction.
Those were it.
Those are it, okay. So we saved a whole bunch of money by doing it, and hopefully we'll get a report on that to show others that if you do want to have a sidewalk, it's a great way to go about it. And I don't know if I need to talk about as far as in form of motion, but on Hudson Beach, we started the improvements for the stormwater drainage. And I want to commend staff for taking the time to work with the owners up and down to make sure when they developed the plan it was going to work. When they started execution, they kind of slowed down a little bit to clarify. But yeah, they did a great job getting with the people to kind of go through that, so the construction started. I'd like to make sure when we finish that road, we do a nice ribbon cutting down there as an integral part of the area, and then the commitment the county's made to the area. I think it'll be a great showing. So if you can help make that arrangement, that'd be great. And I'll go reach out now and see if I need to make a motion to put a plan together. But on Green Key Beach, the road starts out, I think, in the city. The county takes it over. and then it goes into the county park. I'd like to have us take a look at, give us a cost factor, put a plan together, and whether it be paving assessment or a joint interlocal agreement with the city, but can we get a plan back about how we could, how much would it cost to do the road, and what we could do to make it happen?
We can do that.
Okay. And the last thing I have is invitations for the board members and everyone else on the dais as well, but I just have the full copies here. Patty Templeton from Generations Church, she's also on the West Pasco Habitat Community Board, has scheduled a Building Dreams Gala at Heritage Springs Golf Club. It's going to be at August.
That's coming up, it's September 8th.
September 8th. September 8th, coming up.
That's like coming up. Yeah.
Coming up, so if you can make it, we'd love to have you there. I, unfortunately, the way they've scheduled this, I've got a niece who's getting married up north, so I won't be able to make it, but they did, want to reach out to the board members and everyone else here on the dais to, if you would like to come, they'd love to have you as well. And that's all I have. Thank you.
I drove through there yesterday, and I see the silt fences up on the Harbor House. I see people still dumping in there. We clear a mobile home off, and someone comes in and dumps all kinds of junk in there.
I do have good news as far as the project goes. Talking with the city, we had a meeting with our staff where they want to build the first 6 units. There's actually water and sewer in the ground already.
Okay.
So they're going to be able to get started in the first 6, hooking it right up. We're putting a plan together the next couple of weeks. And COPE has actually pulled for a permit to go to get the fill permit in there, to actually go raise the sites up to make them more viable. I had them reach out to Timber Oaks and Nancy Jenkins to see if they would either make a donation of the dirt, or we can try to get someone to do the hauling for us. But it might even be something, I don't know, maybe we can just make this motion. If we can get the sand from Timber Oaks, can we have the county haul the dirt to the sites? Is that something we have the capability to do?
I'm not sure we have enough dump trucks to do that effectively, even if the board wanted to do it.
It's about 18 loads. It's not that much.
Yeah, and Branford's not here. I'll ask and see, but I'm not sure that's.
Okay, maybe we can make that from an agenda item, bring it back to us at the next meeting, we'll have a cost number.
We don't own that dirt.
No, if they donate it to us, though.
I'll see.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Biles?
The only thing I have is, I think you saw the note from Nicole earlier that I'll be out of town the rest of the week, returning next Tuesday. The gentleman who replaced me at the Air National Guard unit's retiring, so I'm going to go up and see his retirement.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Visit my parents, or in-laws while we're up there, so.
Okay.
See y'all next Tuesday.
Okay. Have a safe trip.
Thank
Mr. Steinsnyder?
I don't have anything today, thank you.
Dr. O'Neill, I know you do.
I do, thank you. First of all, on March 27th, I requested permission to have a car show for Clerks for a Cure out in the West Pasco Judicial Center on October 20th, and that permission was granted, so my team went to get a permit for it. I don't know if we needed a permit, but anyway, there's a $120 fee. I'm asking if you could waive that fee if we need this permit.
Well, I know we can't waive the fee, but we can.
Pay for it out of
Reimburse the general fund?
Do we need a
Move
permit?
to cover the fee.
Well, so I'm not sure why we would need a fee, but we'll check, and even if we do, y'all approved a resolution allowing me to waive fee for 501c3 organizations already.
There you
So,
go.
not waive it, but pay for it with general
Yep.
fund, so up to $1,000. So if there is one, we'll check, and we can use that resolution to
It is a
to take care of that.
501c3.
So,
Thank
yeah,
you.
y'all approved that 6
Excellent.
months ago.
You get a pretty fat budget.
Thank you. Not for our charity. No, we don't have a budget. No. Okay. Secondly, as you may know, Wesley Chapel Nissan has a casino night annually. This year, they are, the charities that are benefiting are Clerks for a Cure, Sheriff's K-9 Program, and some scholarships. And it's August 24th, so it'd be great if people could go. It's always a lot of fun. And my last thing is, today is Love Thy Neighbor holiday. So love your neighbor like we saw the firefighters do earlier. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think so, but okay, maybe. Mr. Chairman? Not my immediate neighbor, but.
I just
Yes.
want to show you the sign. This sign actually can go up on State Road 54, State Road 52, and also I-75 is a Purple Heart
That's nice.
highway.
What about US 19?
Excellent.
State Road 56.
And 19.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, the only thing I had was what we discussed earlier, so thank you all for supporting the fire team moving forward with that.
I hate to do this to you.
No. I never do
Only
it.
I can do that.
Just quit. You good? Just if staff, real quick, staff, if you could, or Mr. Biles, if you could ask staff to just, I won't ask for anything right now, look at Arthur Drive in Wesley Chapel. Arthur Drive in Wesley Chapel. I drove it probably about a week ago, and there is no way in a million years that rescue can get through that. I literally almost got my Suburban stuck. So
do you
Is
want
it
to
a county maintained
So I
road?
just want to ask if they'll look at it, and if it needs to have like a one-time fix for those potholes, we can go ahead and do it. I'm not saying pave the road or anything, but there's no way rescue can get through there with those trucks. I mean, it's impossible.
We'll look at it if it's a county maintained road.
I couldn't
We'll-
go around.
we'll take
I
care of it.
went down.
Yeah, we'll look at it. We'll first check to see if it's county maintained road.
So if you could take a look at it. I talked to a gentleman, so he comes to come in off another road to get in. He can't take the short way to his house. It's impossible. They're filling it up with their own dirt and stuff. So,
Is it a county maintained road?
I can't answer that.
You gotta look at the sign. Green or white.
That's why I'm asking staff to take a gander at
Okay.
it. But right now, there's no way.
I'll have our
rescue
team,
can get through
I'll have our team look at it. We'll get you an answer.
there. There's some asphalt on it. It's mostly dirt now. It used to be asphalt.
Okay, with that, thank you, we're adjourned. Have a good evening.
All right.